edit.
Okay, do you want to introduce me or do you want to just me go right into it?
We'll talk for just a couple seconds because I just want to let people join. There's a few people here already.
Awesome.
I'll just mention a couple things we got coming up, and then I'll just toss it to you and you'll introduce yourself. And I'm just
Love it.
finishing. I'm just going to let people know we're live on a few different things. Thanks for joining us, everyone. If you have questions, we're going to want you to put them in the chat room or the Q&A window. If you're joining us on YouTube, put them in the YouTube chat and I'll ask them at the appropriate time. I don't know if many of you have seen our previous webinar with Tarra before. It is Tarra, not Tarra.
It is Tarra.
I thought so. With the 2 R's, I thought I had that right.
When I was born, my parents wanted my name to be pronounced Tara, but only spelt it T-A-R-A. So on my original birth certificate, it's T-A-R-A. And then my father got really pissed off that people were calling me Tara. So he went down and changed my name when I was about 3 months old to T-A-R-R-A. So people would pronounce it Tara. It still doesn't work most of the time.
Yeah, it's funny the things that parents do, right? My parents battled over my name too. But one of them won on paper and one of them won on what I actually called in day-to-day life.
Oh. Love it.
All right. Well, I just want to mention a couple other things we got coming up to everyone here, where I just sent out we're live on YouTube, whatnot. Thanks for attending, everyone. Let me just switch. Let me hang on a second because I blank in here. What we got coming up? Building a winning sales strategy with Trevor Short. We're going to go step by step. What is a sales strategy? How to build it? How to close your sales? That kind of stuff. So that's coming up on the 24th. Our next Startup Investor Drinks. I'm not sure if you're going to be here, Tara, for that. Is on January 26th. And
I'm not going to be in town. I want to be, though.
You're all over the place.
Yeah.
And on February 2nd, we're having a Swift Rack Accelerator in. We're going to do a idea validation, how to validate your startup idea webinar. And we're going to go step by step through a bunch of different processes people should be doing to validate before building their product and stuff. So that's just a bunch of stuff coming up. That also gave us a few minutes for people to join us. If you have questions for Tara, comments, put them in the chat room in the Q&A window and I'll get to them. And over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'm really excited to chat today about how we can all get through this winter. I think I sent out a tweet a few months ago that was like, oh, I just want to go to sleep. It is 2 p.m. and it is very dark out and I just want to sleep. But, and you said you work in your basement with no natural light. I don't know how you do it, Craig, but I feel like I would be sleeping all the time if that was me. So it kind of spawned this idea of, how we can all be more productive and more motivated throughout the winter months, and also just through challenging times. Like, things happen as entrepreneurs, we know, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that kind of pivot what we, think that we're setting out to achieve, and then something happens. So just, how do we stay motivated when those roadblocks come up? So a little bit about me. I am Tara. I am a certified lifestyle manager. I'm a celebrity assistant. I work with people such as Mick Jagger, Paula Abdul. Everyone loves this one when I name drop Drake. So I get to play with some very famous and influential people. But what I really like the most about being around them is I get to study what makes them successful and what has made them successful and what keeps them at the top of their game. I'm fascinated with time management, and I'm fascinated with just how people become celebrities and how they just stay at the top of their game. Some fun facts about me. As I said, I'm obsessed with time management. I live here in Toronto, but I also have a place in Nashville, so I go back and forth quite a bit. I haven't figured out which one I love more. Nashville's great when it's not a bazillion degrees like it gets. And my husband and I were introduced actually by Mick Jagger. Believe it or not, he played matchmaker when we were both working for the Rolling Stones. And I'm also a crazy cat lady. I have 6 cats. So growing up, I kind of want to tell a little bit of my aha moment and what keeps me motivated on a daily basis. And as entrepreneurs, we always have to think about our why and why, we're doing this, why we're grinding, why we're hustling, why we're building what we're building, why we decided to give up our, 9-to-5 jobs and a regular paycheck, why we're up at all hours of the night working, or why we're trying to continue to work past 3 p.m. in the winter when it is really, really dark out and we just want to go to sleep. So for me, I have kind of an aha moment that I remember on a, sometimes daily basis and force myself to remember, why am I sitting here? Why did I really decide that this was the path that I wanted to take? So when I was younger, I always thought, wouldn't it be cool to be a rock star? I don't know if anyone else has thought that. I feel like everyone's like, oh yeah, it'd be cool. Especially now when everyone's like, my niece wants to be a YouTube, influencer. I feel like that's the thing now for little kids. But for me back then, I always thought that being a rock star was having to know how to play a musical instrument well, or sing, or do something like that. And, I can kind of play guitar, as you can see one in the background here, but I wouldn't say I'm anything professional, and I definitely cannot sing. No one wants to hear me sing at all. So I kind of thought oh, well, I guess I can't really be a rock star. I actually had a shirt that said, remember me, I'm going to be a star. And I wore that all the time. I wish I still had it. It kind of fizzled away into nothing because I wore it so many times. So I kind of did the next best thing that I knew how to do. And I became a personal assistant to the rock stars of the world. So I could, as I said in the beginning, kind of, gather all of their successes and figure out what made them who they were. And I know it kind of sounds like, oh, easy, oh, I decided to become a personal assistant. And it was hard to get into, the level of people that I was assisting. But I was determined and I was motivated, and I kind of grew through the ranks pretty quickly. And I ended up touring with very famous musicians and was gone living on tour buses for up to 300 days a year, and saw every single country and continent except for Antarctica, and was kind of really living that rock star life. And I had this moment, and it happened. It was quite some time into my career as a personal assistant, and it happened actually in a kitchen in a very expensive, high, 5-star hotel in Shanghai. And one of my kind of requests on a daily basis from the rock star that I was supporting was to, and yes, this sounds insane, but it really happened, was to, every time his toothbrush traveled, so came out of the suitcase, I had to take it and have it sanitized in a hotel dishwasher. So a lot of the hotels kind of knew we were coming, saw that we were on the guest list, and knew that I would be, marching down there with this toothbrush, having it sanitized. But some of them didn't know that this request was about to happen. We never stayed there before. And on this particular night in Shanghai, it was one time where we had never stayed at this hotel before. So there I was in this kitchen with this toothbrush in hand, trying to figure out how to communicate that I had to put this toothbrush in the dishwasher and have it run through the whole cycle. And, you know, they didn't speak English. I didn't speak their language. It was very difficult. And I just had a moment where I was standing there with the toothbrush and I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. And it was kind of like, life is what I want to create it to be. I created it to be like rock star personal assistant. Now it's time for me to move on and create it to be something else. So I finished off the tour and came off the road and opened up my first business in 2007. That business is still going strong. And I have kind of created that rock star lifestyle and being able to help other entrepreneurs get motivated, succeed. And I've always said that, you know, I've been put on this planet for one reason, and that's literally to help others succeed. And I get so motivated by it. And that's what I hang on my wall every day is my motivation and my why. So today we're going to be talking about a few things. So how we're going to understand motivation. We are going to talk about how we can get friggin' motivated in these winter months through all of these kind of rough times that we experience as entrepreneurs, and also how to make it sustainable. Because I know, you know, as an entrepreneur myself, I listen to a lot of these webinars, I read a ton of books, I go to motivational speeches, and, you know, you come away so motivated and then you're kind of forget it as soon as you get in the car, or you don't really take action, or you take action for one day and then like life happens. So, you know, how do we actually make this sustainable and keep on going? So motivation, as I said, is something really big that we talk about a lot as entrepreneurs. And I hear it, you know, all the time. Oh, I'm so motivated today, or, oh, I have no motivation at all. Or as the tweet that I sent out, like, oh, this weather is making me like so not motivated. And I feel like it's like a word that's thrown around a lot, but we might not understand the full meaning to it, or kind of like why it's happening, or why it doesn't happen, or why it's so important. So motivation is actually all about our needs, values, and goals. Goals is something that's super, super important to us as, you know, entrepreneurs, us as small business owners. If you're not thinking about your goals, please stop right now, listen to this later, and write down your goals and start thinking about your goals, because it's the number one priority for all business owners, and what will help you drive through your motivation, your day-to-day for sure. So, you know, as human beings, it's valuable for us to obviously know our needs, to know our desires, to know our goals, both personally, business, career, whatever it may be. And motivation really does give us valuable insight into this human nature of ours. And it explains why we set our goals and why we have this kind of desire and emotions that drive us. So learning about motivation is really, really key to being able to be just a successful human overall. And it is something that is universal. So you can say, hey, Tara, this is great that you've been, you know, out on the road with these famous musicians. Of course you're motivated. I just, you know, grew up normal kind of suburban life, you know, or, you know, I had a rough childhood. How am I going to be motivated? But motivation is actually something that is completely universal, no matter what our background is, no matter how we've been raised, no matter what has brought us to today, something that will keep us driving and succeeding no matter what. And I love that about motivation. It's actually also time management, which I talk about a lot and which I'll talk about a little later. It's also something, time is universal. It's something that we all have. We all don't know how much time we actually have. So it's something that we should all really think about, is how we're spending our time and how we're keeping motivated to do so. I'm curious to know if anyone's heard of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's something that I think about a lot. It's not something, there's a lot of controversy behind it. People say that it's relevant and not. I really don't want to get into, the controversy around it. But I do find it interesting that it does talk about kind of our level of needs and, what motivates us to kind of keep climbing that pyramid. And, oh, you learned in high school. That's awesome. Yes. Okay, I don't remember. I feel like I'm old and high school was so long ago. But yes, it's like, what are our needs? And sort of, we start at the bottom with, our actual like needs to help us continue living on a day-to-day basis. So our needs of air, water, food, that type of thing. And then it grows up to, more of our wants and our goals and our desires. And it says that we have to climb the pyramid and kind of achieve every single level before we can get to the top. I don't know if I actually agree with that, because I feel like the motivation behind your desire to become the best that you can be, the one at the very top, might actually be because you don't have food, you don't have water, you don't have those bottom of the pyramid, needs that to keep on going, to keep on living. And sometimes that's the biggest motivation that we need. Sometimes not. Sometimes you just have to be standing in a hotel kitchen with a toothbrush before you get that kind of motivation to keep on going. I love this quote. People often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing, and that's why we do it daily. So a lot of times people talk about motivation, like striking like a lightning strike, or, oh, I'm just waiting for that motivation to hit me. Well, I have some sad news for you. Motivation is not going to just hit you. It is something that you have to work on. It's something that you have to keep trying to achieve, to keep trying to, learn as a habit. And it's something that you really have to think about every single day. Like bathing. I guess some days you can skip it if you want, but probably not the most ideal circumstances. So motivation is just figuring out our needs, as we learned kind of in the last slide with the pyramid. And, but if it's just our needs, then why does it seem so hard all the time? I know it's something that I personally have, struggled with, of like, I just don't feel motivated. I don't know if I am on the right path. My aha moment isn't necessarily going to keep me going today. It's not the motivation or the lightning strike I need, but it is all about our needs. And it's something that we talk about every single day. So it is a habit that needs to be formed. And, a lot of people talk to me and they're like, I'm not really motivated. I'm not really good at motivation. I'm not really good at staying motivated. I suck at setting goals and sticking to them. And, I always tell people, hey, if you went to a gym and decided to run on a treadmill for 30 minutes, would you expect to get off and lose 10 pounds? No. Motivation is a habit. You have to stick to it. Exercising is a habit. To see the results, you have to stick to it. You can't tell me you're not good at setting your goals or keeping your goals, or you're not good at, thinking about motivation and staying motivated every single day if you don't try it first and keep on actually thinking about it and doing it. It's all about putting one foot in front of the other. All right, some motivational challenges that I know we all face. There's an abundance of choices. Are we on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? I think about that consistently. Like, if I wasn't doing this, am I really doing the right thing? Should I have not changed my mind back there in the Shanghai kitchen? But again, I get motivated when I think about it, and my kind of why of being able to help people. So I know that I am I have made the right choice. But there's thousands of choices out there that can distract us and keep us unmotivated. We can all have the fear of failure. We can all have the fear of success. That can be stressful sometimes, thinking about how successful we can actually be. Also, a lack of clarity on our goals, and just kind of our vision, and why we're sitting here in our basement working with no windows and natural sunlight, why we're working past 3-4 p.m. in the winter when it's so dark and we just want to crawl into bed. And that can also lead to exhaustion and burnout. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, about being able to set up your days so we're not exhausted, so we're not burnt out, so we can continue to be sustainable and motivated on a day-to-day basis. We also compare ourselves with each other. I love social media, but it's also not the greatest, as we all know. We can, compare ourselves to everyone and anyone, and it is really hard to kind of sit there and see the scrolls of everyone else being successful and everyone else being motivated to, make their $1 million this year or hit those targets, or, how did that person raise their first round in what seemed to be 2 months, where I'm struggling and I've talked to 100 people and had 100 no's. So, comparing ourselves to others is really definitely a form of a motivational challenge. Also, giving us ourselves too many excuses. In my office here in my home, I have a sticky note on my door before I walk in every morning, and it says, "No more excuses." And it's not that I make a lot of excuses for myself, but I always want to remind myself that, I'm walking into my work day, I'm walking into helping others, and I'm not going to make an excuse for myself not to do it. It's the one thing that keeps me motivated to keep going and to keep striving for the success of others, for sure. So I'm not going to make excuses to curl up in my bed and sleep. Now, I do want to say that, me saying like, don't go to bed or don't stop working at 3 p.m. or, like work all the time. I'm not saying that. We all definitely need our, work-life balance. We definitely need to sleep so we don't have burnout. And I will be talking about that later as well. We could also be bored. Could be a real good reason why we're not motivated. And maybe now at the top of the new year is a good way to, or a good time to kind of think about our challenges, to think about what we're doing. Why are we bored? Are we bored because we're not on the right path? Are we bored because we think we don't have motivation? I don't think that's a reason why to be bored. There's some other reason why we are bored. So I would take a good hard look and see, reevaluate what you're doing. And patience, or lack thereof. I hear a lot of people, again, back to the comparison thing of, this person seemed to, go from 0 followers to 100,000 followers in a month and a half. Why can't I do it? Or, this person raised a really good, huge amount of money. Why can't I do that? Or this person seemed to just, throw their business idea out there and became successful. Why can't I do that? Well, you can do that. You just have to be patient. And I think in my last chat with Craig, I talked about, patience and how people feel about or think that, a successful business is just built overnight. And I have to say that my business, my first business, I did not take a paycheck from it. It was not profitable until about year 5. And, it was something that I always thought about, but I had the persistence and the resilience and the motivation to keep it going. So I could make it successful, but it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. And all the distractions, social media, what other people are doing, things around the home, wanting to get outside, wanting to come inside, all of these millions of distractions are something that can really be a motivational challenge for us. And so we are talking today about like winter challenges and kind of what brought us together and keeping motivated throughout it. And I found it interesting that 62% of companies see a decrease in productivity during the holiday season. However, 20% of workplaces see a productivity drop during the summer months. And, you know, if you think back to it, like as entrepreneurs, if we are working for ourselves or freelancers, I know in the summer, I'm consistently thinking of like, why is everyone else on holiday? Or I just want to go outside. It's so nice. And then, you know, in the winter, you're like, oh God, I just want to sleep because it's like so dark and dreary outside. So like the weather and the seasons really do have an effect on our motivation, whether it's us personally or big companies as well. So we have like a lack of energy. You know, another excuse would be it's too dark outside that I keep bringing up, or I'm exhausted from the holidays, or I have so much to do to get ready for the holidays. We see such a drop in productivity in December. January tends to pick back up because everyone has made their New Year's resolutions, but then it seems to fall again in February when those New Year's resolutions kind of take a back seat and those dreary winter months keep hitting. And, you know, a lot of the times we're sick or family members are sick during the winter. So we're thinking about that and we're not feeling our best, or we're wanting our family to feel better as well. And then in the summer, it's kind of like FOMO. You think, you know, everyone else is on vacation. I want to be on vacation, or it's just so nice outside. I don't want to be sitting here. So, of course, you know, you can get outside, you can work outside, you can take days off, you can plan great holidays. There's lots of ways to get around that. So, as I was just saying, you know, there are the traditional ways of finding motivation during the winter, during the summer, during those challenging times. Such as, you know, getting outside or exercising or using as much natural light as possible, or a sad lamp, you know, things like that, waking up early, ending your day early. I could keep going on and on. I'm sure we can all Google how to stay productive and are motivated in the winter. But that's not really what I want to talk about today, because I like talking about things from like a time management, goal setting, holistic approach of how, you know, you can take these dreary months and really kind of reform and re-energize your schedules. So of course, please, if you don't have natural light, go find natural light to work in. Please step outside at least once a day working from home. Connect with as many people as possible. Again, if you're working at home, or even if you're going into an office, don't close that door and not talk to people because, you know, you're depressed because of the winter months. I also like to say to people that if, you know, you're getting tired earlier in the day or lacking, you know, that motivation just to keep going, I like to say to try and get up early. So maybe try to get up at 5. Yeah, it's dark. It's dark like all the time. But then, you know, get up early, end your day early, that sort of thing. So our motivation does go up and down. And sometimes, as we've been talking about, it goes really, really, really down. And we have to find ways to keep it consistent, or else, you know, our businesses and our goals are going to go up and down as well. I love this. Richard Branson, actually, I got to work with him a couple of times. He is like a superstar in my eye in the business world and rock and roll world. And I've been really honored to be able to kind of learn firsthand from him. And he has a famous quote that says, whatever your goal is, you will never succeed unless you let go of your fears and fly. So, you know, let's let go of our fears. Let's keep motivated. Of course, let's go outside whenever we can, but let's really set ourselves up for success. So how do we find, you know, motivation during these challenging times? So winter, I think, is definitely a challenging time. But as I said before, a lot of entrepreneurs, they hit challenging times throughout the weeks, throughout the months, throughout the years, no matter what season it is. It's just kind of a way of being an entrepreneur. So I love this list of, ways to find motivation. And but I'm going to share kind of my top 3 lists after we kind of go through this list of my top 3 tips on how I like to keep motivated. So first of all, obviously remind yourself that you have had successful days. If you're thinking, oh, I really don't feel great today, I don't feel like I was successful. Not every single day can be successful. You've woken up, you've gotten out of bed, you've brushed your teeth. I would say that is a huge success. As you can see, I have a theme throughout my talks with, toothbrushes and brushing teeth. But yeah, I always like to say that a lot of people, I don't know if everyone's heard this kind of time management tip, but sometimes people say to eat the frog. And which basically means that when you get up in the morning, you do your hardest task first. So the frog is eaten throughout the first thing, and then everything else seems easy after it. I like to say to do one easy task first, so you can check it off your list, because motivation actually is a series of small wins that build up over time. So you can really feel that lightning strike, I'm successful, I'm going to keep going moment. So I like to make my list and be like, I've brushed my teeth, I've made my bed, I've fed my cats. And then you go, oh, I can do this. I'm being successful today. I've gotten out of bed. I've done some things. I've checked things off my list. I've made coffee. It wasn't horrible. I can do this. I can conquer my day. That works for me. I love it. Some people also love eating the frog. So please eat the frog if you want to in the first part of the day. So we've been talking about as well, do not wait for that flash of lightning. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Motivation really is, working at it every day, celebrating small wins, building up that momentum of successes for you to continue to feel that motivation. To really know that the pain of discipline is actually greater than the pain of failure. So if you think about it, the pain of failure, who wants to fail? So if you keep saying I'm going to keep doing this, I'm going to keep moving, it's going to hurt to get out of bed at 5 a.m. if I have to every day to set my goals and to create it, but I'm going to keep doing this. And it's a great lesson to learn. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I run a personal or an executive assistant company where we teach new founders how to ask for help on a daily basis. A lot of times people don't want to do it, especially as entrepreneurs. And I feel like, holding on to everything, it's stressing us out and, it's helping burn us out and it's causing us not to be motivated. Reward yourself. I'm sure everyone has heard of that. So small wins throughout the day and then be like, I'm going to go eat that slice of cake, or I'm going to treat myself to dinner out, or I'm going to go on a date night, or I'm going to watch that movie I want to watch. Whatever it is, treating yourself and rewarding yourself is a great way to keep yourself motivated. Another one that I love is move. So it's not, physically move your house or move your office space, but move throughout the day. One great kind of quick technique I find when I'm losing focus throughout the day is called the popcorn technique. And what it is, you can do one task, say sitting at your desk or, in your office at your desk. It doesn't have to be remote work. It can be wherever you are working. And then, if you need to change tasks or focus on another bigger project, I like to pop up like popcorn and move to another area of my house. If you're in an office, maybe move to the boardroom. If you're in a co-working space, you can, move to a boardroom or another hot desk or whatever it is. But it helps clear your mind. It's like you're going for, a very quick walk or doing a very quick exercise or something like that, and remotivates you and refocuses you to set on my presentation isn't being shared anymore. To set, do you want me to stop?
Yeah, if you could reshare it, that'd be great, because I think people are missing the graphics
What?
and whatnot.
Oh, what happened? Was it being shared?
No, I think we didn't. I was, waiting for it to appear, and then I think we did the backstage stuff, shared it, and then we have to reshare it when we go live.
Oh, I don't know how to not share it. Okay,
Sorry about that,
good.
everyone.
Yeah. Okay, let's try. Oops. Is it sharing now?
I don't see it.
Hmm. I don't know. I can share my slides after if people want.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going then.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna try one more thing.
Didn't mean to disrupt your flow, but
Oh my goodness, it's totally fine. Wait, I think it's because I'm on exit full screen mode. Okay, let's try this now. Is it sharing now? No.
no, not yet.
Well, darn.
Darn it. We tested everything. Okay. Is what it is.
How about
Hey,
now?
we got it.
Okay, you can see my bar at the top, I think, right? But
Yeah, that's fine. Keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna go back to this one. Okay, so where was I? Moving, we did the popcorn technique. Yeah, don't be afraid to make changes. I think as entrepreneurs, we really, are kind of scared to make a change. Like we get into a groove, we get into a flow, and we're like, maybe I won't make a change. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem. Something happened with me. But we have to change. We have to live our lives. We can't get set in that boredom of like every day, same old, same old. So don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to pivot. Another really great one is to connect. I mentioned it before. Make sure you have so many connections, throughout the weeks. If you're an introvert, that is totally fine. You can connect in your own ways with people, but make sure you have that connection and don't hole up and, just kind of work away because you really are going to lose that motivation to do so. And know your goals inside and out. Redream your dream. I consistently, as I said, I always redream my dream of why I started, why I'm doing this. And it really helps when I visualize it. It helps me keep motivated and it helps me to keep going. I also really love that when I set my goals for the year, I actually set them quarterly and I review them. I know a lot of people will set their goals and not review them. They kind of set and forget. But I review them almost on a weekly basis because it really does help me keep motivated and keep driving to what, I want to succeed throughout the year and, kind of in my future self. And be consistent. We talked about this before. Being motivated, setting goals, better time management is all about being consistent and building that habit. You're not going to lose 10 pounds running on a treadmill for 30 minutes. You're not going to be motivated consistently after trying for 3 days or after reading a book or listening to this webinar. You really have to be self-disciplined and be consistent. All right, we're going to get into my top 3 tips for getting friggin' motivated. So for me, time management isn't about shaving a few extra minutes off of our commute every day or, or saying, hey, I have more time because I now work remotely. It's not about getting to inbox zero. I do a lot of keynotes, and whenever I ask people what better time management to them is or means, I have at least one person in the audience always tell me it is getting to inbox zero. And I have to say that has nothing to do with time management. It's something that you cannot control because, 30 seconds later, you're going to get another email, and then you've like wasted your time getting to that inbox zero. So please do not waste your time getting to inbox zero. Good inbox management is great, but it doesn't affect, the way you're being motivated or anything like that. And also, even time management isn't about delegating off like housework or things like that, small kind of tasks. Yes, great idea. I love delegation, but that's not really the meaning of great time management. Time management is about filling your days with meaningful moments so that you can create the life that you want to live. I'm going to say that again. Time management is about filling your days with meaningful moments so you can create the life that you want to live. And how do we do that? Through knowing our goals, through being motivated to achieve them, and for being consistent. Now, again, I understand we all come from different backgrounds. But as I said before, time is universal. Time management is also universal. And so motivation is really the key habit builder for time management and time blocking. I'm curious to know if anyone has heard of kind of Jerry Seinfeld's, don't break the chain, which he talks about for his motivation to keep going and for his secret to success. So I find it really interesting, and I like to use it when I'm trying to build a habit of my own. So basically what it was is when Jerry Seinfeld was an up-and-coming comedian, he made a commitment to himself that he was going to write one joke a day. He wasn't going to write an entire monologue or an entire, routine. It was just a funny line once a day. And he had a big wall calendar that he hung in a place where he could see it on a daily basis. And every day he wrote that one line joke, he would put a big red X on the day on his calendar. And he did it every single day for a long time, and then realized that he was making this chain and this visual reminder of this habit that he was forming. When any up-and-coming comedians ask him, what's your secret to your success, he always says, don't break the chain. And I love it because it's like gamification. There's lots of apps out there that can help you do it. You can create one on your, Excel spreadsheets, whatever it is, or you can just have a wall calendar like Jerry Seinfeld. But know your goal, know your motivation, and don't break the chain. If it's, hey, I just want to stay, working till 3:30, instead of 3 when it gets dark, don't break that chain. Keep on going. Focus on your goals. It provides structure every single day. Time management, as I said, is about filling your days with meaningful moments so that you can create the life that you want to live. So this is me. Can we see this video or no?
Yes, we can.
Yay! So this is Paula Abdul, and this is me. I can play it again maybe. This is me in the background fiddling with her dress for her red carpet moments. The dress was going to be the death of me because it kept showing parts of Paula that people don't necessarily want to see on camera. But so again, I was talking about how, I have been so lucky to be around celebrities for a lot of my life, and I have learned from them. I've been a sponge of, how does Paula Abdul get to have these red carpet moments? How does Drake get to live in, bridle path mansions and fly around on private jets? How are these people so successful, and what has made them so successful? Have they, won the lottery of life? I don't think so. So did you know that you can Google how to become a celebrity? I actually find this quite entertaining, and I giggle at it every single time I look at it. Like, it seems so simple, right? Set the stage, practice, develop your image. Like, come on, everyone can do it, right? I love how you can study celebrities in your chosen field. Like, that doesn't seem stalkerish, does it? Become friends with other celebrities. Once you check all of this off your list, you're a celebrity. God, I love Google sometimes. It is just absolutely amazing. But anyway, so celebrities, as I said, have they won the lottery of life? Have they followed these steps? No, they haven't. But they are a master of their craft and consistently motivating themselves to keep on going and to keep on driving. I have never met a celebrity in my entire life that is not a hard worker and determined to get to their goals. When I'm feeling unmotivated, I think of all the celebrities that I have supported, and I always think of them, grinding away, like the A-list celebrities that are on set at 4 a.m. or even earlier. Think about those, celebrities and actors that sit in makeup chairs for 24 hours sometimes getting their makeup done. And then they go out and, get on their set and do their thing. Or professional athletes, how they are determined and motivated to keep their mind sharp, but also to be masters of their craft. The other tip that I love is about multitasking and focus. So I chatted a little bit about and hinted a little bit about focus earlier, just now. But I also like to talk a little bit about multitasking. Now, I'm curious to know, do we have any professional multitaskers in the house? You can put a thumbs up or a like in the chat, or a woohoo, whatever it is. But I want to say that I am on a mission to end multitasking once and for all. I actually am doing interviews right now for executive assistants to come work with me. And if anyone tells me that they are a master of multitasking, I don't want to hire them. And this is the reason why. It doesn't work. There's actually no such thing as multitasking. Your brain cannot concentrate on more than one thing at a time. You think it might be, but it doesn't. You're actually really quickly context switching through, whatever you're trying to do, multiple things at once. It's making us exhausted. It's burning us out. Why is society so tired? I believe it's because of multitasking. Social media, all those images we're trying to take in at once, plus watching TV at the same time, or whatever Netflix show we're binging, plus trying to have, a conversation with our significant other, or talking or thinking about like our goals that we're setting for our business, or in meetings. This is also another big pet peeve of mine, of people who are like, oh, I multitask through a meeting. Well, why are you in that meeting? I don't think you should be wasting your valuable time in a meeting if you don't have to pay attention to it and you can multitask through it. You should be doing something else with your time. That's a whole other thing. We can have a whole other webinar on productivity of meetings. But multitasking definitely reduces your efficiency and performance because your brain is just switching. And there's actually studies that say that multitasking or trying to multitask lowers your IQ, which I find is very fascinating. But why are we doing it? We have FOMO as human beings. We're scared that ding on Slack or social media or whatever it is, we're missing something. We need to check it this second. Also raises our dopamine levels of, checking those social medias or texts or notifications. So my biggest thing is to focus, to not multitask, to concentrate on one thing at a time. And the way that I do it is through time blocking my calendar. And it's the way that I can be the most motivated throughout the day to succeed and win my day. So I'll time block, my tasks, when I'm going to complete my tasks. I'll time block, obviously, my meetings. I time block my personal events, all in one calendar. And I don't make to-do lists. I actually put my tasks in my calendar so I know that they're going to get done. And if I can't fit them in somewhere between my meetings, I have to think about my priorities. What I want to do. Do I need to do my tasks? Do I need to delegate my tasks because I don't have time to do it? I obviously can't do 2 tasks at one time. I'm going to get burnt out. I'm not going to have the motivation to keep going. So if we think about celebrities and we think about how they have become successful, they are successful, in my opinion, because they are extremely focused on the task at hand and their goals. In Hollywood, there's actually a math equation that's thrown around, and it is 20% plus 20% plus 80% doesn't actually equal 100%. What does that mean? Of course it doesn't. But it means that if you're focusing 20% of your time on one thing and 20% of your time on another thing and 20% of your time on another thing and 80% of your time on another thing, you're obviously not giving your all to the one thing. You're being spread way too thin. You're not going to be successful at anything. So when you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about your goals, and you're thinking about ways to keep motivated and taking those one small step on a daily basis, think about this Hollywood equation. And when you're thinking about your time blocking and how you're setting up your days, don't spread yourself too thin. Put one foot in front of the other. If you think about professional athletes, I like to talk about this a lot too. When they're training, say for the Olympics, they train and all they do is train, whether it's mental training, physical training, whatever it is, they are training 100% of their time. They're not doing anything else. Now, I'm not telling everyone to go out and work 16 hours a day. And that's the only way to be successful, like celebrities and athletes. What I am telling you is to focus on your goals, to focus on what keeps you driving, what's your motivation, to keep those time blocks in. So we talked about focus and also, about mind over matter. And a lot of times people ask me, hey, Tarra, what's your favorite motivational app you use? Or what's your favorite motivational trick or tip? And as you've heard throughout this webinar, I haven't pinpointed one thing that says to keep motivated, do this. Yes, have your why. Yes, time block. Yes, focus. But there's nothing really that can help you start or keep going. I have to be the bearer of bad news and say that there really is nothing. You can read as many books as you want. You can download and buy and create Notion templates and apps and whatever it is. But you have to form that habit like Jerry Seinfeld, and you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, or the apps and the Excel spreadsheets and the Notion templates and all of that are not going to help you. And you have to be consistent about it. Because if you're not consistent and if you just try for that, 2-3 days, it's not going to work either. So it's about self-discipline. It's about remembering your motivation and your why. And it really is about, putting one foot in front of the other. And I'm quickly going to talk about priorities. I know we're running out of time here, but and time management definitely is something that I am keen to keep. But priorities is my kind of third big tip for keeping motivated and keeping really, successful throughout these hard, challenging times and days when we just don't want to do things. And I like to do it by setting 3 priorities throughout the day. So I have kind of a smaller priority, like making my bed, making coffee, whatever it is, that I can check off my list and keep myself motivated to keep going. I also have a medium priority of something that I want to achieve during the day, something I know that will take a little bit of time, but isn't a really hard stretch for me. And then I set out 1 big priority that I want to achieve. When I do that throughout the day, sometimes changes. It depends, it's up to you when your kind of big key motivational times of the day are, when you work better. Some people are morning people, some people aren't. It's totally fine. You don't have to get up at 4 a.m. to be successful. But if you can check off those 3 priorities every single day, you're driving towards your success, you're building your motivation, and you're really, really creating businesses and being that entrepreneur that you really want to be. I also love avoiding distractions. So I have to say I am the biggest culprit if I write a to-do list on my phone, or even, in my calendar, like I like to do, and not a to-do list, but like my top 3 priorities, I'll sometimes put at the top of my calendar. And then what happens is I go into my calendar or like open up my computer or my phone to look at, what I need to do next. And then all of a sudden I get sucked into the rabbit hole of social media or my inbox or something else. And then 3 hours later, I'm like, why did I pick up my phone in the first place? So I'm a big believer in writing things on paper, going analog. I put every night, I plan out my next day. I'll put my 3 priorities on a sticky note, and I put that beside me so I know what I have to achieve throughout the day, and I don't get distracted. And I always remember to redream my dream. So I always remember that I'm not making excuses, as my sticky note says on my door, but also that the reason why I had that aha moment and had that motivation to get off the road to start helping entrepreneurs succeed. I redream my dream on a daily basis. So we have talked about how we make this sustainable through putting 1 foot in front of the other, through making small changes. So if you're getting tired in the winter at 3:30 because it's dark, push yourself to stay up or stay working until 3:30, and that's it. Don't push yourself to stay working until 5. When you build that, habit, when you build that success, then change it. Maybe 4, maybe 4:30. Maybe it will be spring and it will be and there will be light out again, and then you won't have to. But at least you're trying and striving towards that success. Don't break the chain. I'm going to put this up one more time. I know we didn't all see it really well at the beginning, but it is great ways to find motivation, not just those 3 that I talked about: time blocking, focusing, no multitasking, and prioritization. Those are my big 3. But I also love these, move, the popcorn technique, rewarding yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions. All of these are really great for keeping yourself motivated and building those schedules and goals that you really want to build. And I'm going to leave you with a quote. It is my absolute favorite quote. I share it no matter when I speak. If anyone ever tells you that your dreams are silly, remember that there's somebody out there, a millionaire walking around, who invented the pool noodle. I love it. I absolutely love it. So in summary, we have to work at motivation every single day. It's not going to strike us like lightning. We have to spend more time on important tasks. We can be the Beyoncés, the Paula Abduls, the Drakes of our own lives. We can build that success for sure. And small, consistent steps to sustainable goals. That's it.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm sorry that we had the slide mess up at the beginning.
Oh, good.
I use the move technique because, as we mentioned at the beginning, I kind of work out of my basement with no natural light, and And so I work for a while, and then when I can't focus, I need to physically get up and move somewhere else. Are there other specific techniques to get that energy out that you would recommend so that people can actually, focus again?
Yeah, I do jumping jacks. It's moving as well. But if I have like a day where it's back to back meetings and I have to context switch a lot throughout the meetings, between each meeting, if I don't have time to do anything else, I will stand up and do 5 to 10 jumping jacks. And it like refocuses my brain. Another one that I absolutely love is the Pomodoro timer. I think a lot of people have probably heard of it, or the tomato timer, it's called. I love that. When you can't get started on doing something, it is a great way to just, set that timer and to just go and do it. It's a timer that lasts for 25 minutes, only 25 minutes. It will beep and ding after. There's apps, there's physical timers you can get. There's, Chrome extension. There's a million different things. You can set a timer. You don't need anything fancy. You can set it on your phone as well. But yeah, it's great. You can just say like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. For me, it's always bookkeeping or expenses. Oh, I don't like it at all. But when I want to force myself to do it, I set that timer. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And it helps get you focused and get you going.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time again today to give us these tips, because it is, we're in the middle of January now, and it is dark. Even though the days are getting longer, it is getting dark at 4:30 and whatnot. And we all need to be able to stay motivated, especially, most of us are still working from home. So,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And, I know a lot of your listeners are also like, solo entrepreneurs, or maybe just have a co-founder. So it's hard to keep motivated and keep driving when it's kind of just you or you and one other person. So you kind of have to really build up that self, discipline to keep motivated and to keep going and to keep driving towards your goals. No one else is going to do it for you.
thanks again. And just in case we turn this into a podcast, yes, people aren't seeing what's on the screen, where do people go if they want to find out more about you and the Take It Easy group?
Yeah, so our website is takeiteasygroup.com. And on Twitter, I'm Tarra's Time. I can also be found on LinkedIn at Tarra Stubbins.
And those links will be in the show notes if you're listening to this on the podcast. Thank you very much, Tara, for taking the time today. Really appreciate all the great insights.
Thanks so much for having me. I had a great time.